Is it live?
Yep, I got it.
Oh.
All right, what's up, guys? We're here with the new version of ESN Late Night. We kind of redid the graphics today. We got some good stuff in store, so I just want to say thank you for coming and watching. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some stuff here. But I just want to introduce myself and all my co-hosts. I'm Hype. You can know me as Josh, whatever you like. Odd Slice, you want to introduce yourself?
What's going on, guys? Odd Slice or Max. I'm the editor-in-chief of Esports Nation. You can follow me on Twitter at ESN_OddSlice. You can subscribe to me on YouTube at OddSlice TV. And tonight, after the show ends, guys, I'm going to be broadcasting for the first time on my Twitch channel at ESN_OddSlice. Me and Creeper and Hype's welcome to join as well. We're going to be doing either some viewer 8s or some League player viewers. We're going to figure it out, but basically been playing Call of Duty with viewers. So come and join with that, guys, and enjoy the show. So off to Creeper.
Yeah, go for it, Hype. You're good.
Basically, as you guys know, if you watch, Creeper's mic is completely terrible. So basically, Creeper, he's our co-host for ESN Late Night. He's pretty much on every night. He used to work for us a long time ago. He's our general manager, and yeah, he used to work with VVV as well. So basically, I just want to hop in here, tell you guys what we have planned for the show tonight, our topics, things like that. I do want to start off by saying if we break 500 viewers at any point during the show today, we are going to be giving away a squid grip, so just pay attention for that. Tweet the stream as much as possible. Let's get some support going. We're all going to have PapaRealize in here in a bit to talk about parents' perspective on gaming. I know a lot of you guys, probably your parents don't support what you do in esports, and they might not even know about it. So we're going to try to help you guys with a way to tell everyone and get things out there so you can possibly come to future events, whether it be UMG or any events like that, MLG. And after that, we're going to have Bio on, Mr. Bio Parasite, Mr. Bio, whatever you know him as. And we're going to be talking about universal rule sets, things like that. One last topic we are going to be talking about, though, is the MLG announcement today. Obviously, if you guys saw it, basically they confirmed that there will be some smaller, smaller venue, more localized and focused events. So basically what they're trying to say is there's going to be more events leading up to Columbus, with specific games in mind, like Call of Duty or StarCraft, League of Legends, whatever they decide to do. So you can expect announcements on that soon. We'll probably talk a little bit about that during the show. If you guys missed our show last night, Unite Gaming came on for an announcement, and I'm going to let Odd Slice pretty much recap what happened last night with that.
Okay, so yeah, guys, if you didn't tune in last night, we had Nameless contact us for an exclusive announcement. Him and the captain of Unite Gaming, Slacked, came on and officially announced that they'll be picking up Realize, obviously PapaRealize's son. They will be competing with Realize for the rest of 2013 and have confirmed that they will be attending UMG Atlanta. And Hype also, I just wanted to announce for the rest of the chat that Phasinator, formerly of Dare Impulse, will be joining us later in the show after all our guests are done for a quick segment to talk about Dare at Anaheim. I know we had Folsom on, but we're going to hear his perspective, and we're also going to hear from him on the future of his team Impulse.
Awesome. So yeah, guys, we got a lot in store for the show today. We hope you all enjoy. We're going to bring PapaRealize here in a second, and we'll get things going. So thank you, and we'll be back shortly. Kick off with saying that, and then we'll get going.
Yep, got it.
Alright guys, what's up? We're here with PapaRealize. Basically, before we get going, if you have any questions for PapaRealize or any of us, you could hashtag ESN Late Night and we'll ask some questions later on in the show. So Creeper's gonna kick off the discussion with PapaRealize, and we'll get things going. So Creeper, it's all you.
All right, man. How you doing today, PapaRealize?
I'm doing well. Doing real well.
All right. Knowing you and Realize for a little bit, we know at the beginning you weren't as supportive as you are now for Realize. What was the reasoning behind that as a father?
I think my reasoning might be probably a little different than what it should have been, but I'll tell you my reasoning, and then I guess I'll let you know what I think other parents should look for. But my reasoning kind of came at the point where he was just devoted to it. It came to a point where I realized that, no pun intended, that he just had a passion for it, and it was something that he wasn't going to go play football, he wasn't going to go play soccer or something like that. He wanted to be on main stage at Call of Duty, so I kind of saw that, and at that point, the devotion that he was putting into it, I thought, all right, well, I fought it long enough, I got to get behind it, and I pretty much agreed to one event. Dallas was pretty much my agreement, and I said to him, I said, you need to get some sponsors by Dallas, so you better do well because Anaheim I can't afford. So fortunately, the sponsors came along. He got on a great team, and that's kind of where it went from there. Then the whole coaching thing just kind of came about, kind of fell in my lap, and I'm a sales guy at heart. So once I get into something, I pretty much get a little carried away with it. So I'm probably a little too involved in this community, but that's kind of how I got swung across, was pretty much just his passion for it, and his drive.
Yeah, definitely. At first, what stopped you from supporting it? Was it, it's going to cost $2,000 to go to an event, or was it
no? I think it was just the typical parent reaction. Your kid stays in his room all day. He doesn't go out and play basketball. He doesn't go out with kids in the neighborhood. He just sits in the room and plays a video game all day. So, yeah, it has its positives where he's not out hanging on the corner doing drugs and robbing people or stealing stuff, but it's that's a parent's reaction, is go outside, go get some sunlight, so I think that's definitely why I was opposed to it. Not necessarily the money, because all these sports cost money. If you're on a baseball team and you travel to a tournament, you have to stay in a hotel. It costs money. You're there for 3 or 4 days, so it's really no different than any other sport. And I think that's the way that parents need to really start looking at it and supporting their kids, is if this is what their passion is, then you got to get behind it, just like a football or a baseball or anything else.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of kids don't like their parents to go to events, for whatever reason. With you going to Dallas, and seeing the atmosphere and seeing what goes on, is that what really changed your mind on everything?
Yes. Yes and no. I understand, he was 16 when Dallas came about. His age probably had a little bit to do with it. I have a 15-year-old that also plays competitively, and I certainly would not let him go to an event by himself at 15. But the environment's fine. There's no issue with the environment, I don't think. There's a bunch of great kids out there, and they're pretty much just staying in the venue and playing video games. But for me, it was more or less probably the age, and then I wanted to make sure, it was a kosher scene and that kind of thing, because it's a strange city, and I think a lot of it depends on maturity and age.
What would you say to kids now who want to travel or go to events but their parents won't let them? If you could tell the parents anything, what would you tell them?
Well, the first thing I would tell the parents, obviously, would be support your kid in whatever he does. If your kid has a passion for it, support him. It's the same as any other sport out there. You got to get behind your kids. You have to make sacrifices for your kids for sports all the time. Sports are expensive. My other one played football, and it's hundreds of dollars for equipment and registrations and things like that. So you can't let the money aspect, because it's not that expensive. It's just like any other sport. As far as a kid and what he would tell his parents, I think kids should definitely, have a passion for it if they're devoted to it, and then go to the parents and say, hey, this is what I want to do. And I know I'm not a big fan of you going to an event with me, but just, if you'll come to an event with me, you'll see that it's cool and you'll be comfortable with it. And then hopefully, let him go to the next events by himself. I'm absolutely okay with him, with Derek going to an event by himself at this point.
Yeah, so one of the main questions that I've been getting so far is obviously, how can I approach my parents? And you really answered that. But if you had to give one more tip to anyone who's trying to get to their parents into this, what would it be? Would you tell them to show them the scene, like show them events, pictures of things? I mean, how would you suggest them going about it?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, there's enough footage out there from Dallas, from Anaheim, from past events that, they can see that it's a lot of kids. It's a lot of people. There's security in those videos. I mean, there's security at every door. And, I mean, I would definitely say, yeah, show them the videos, tell them what the event's like. And, I definitely think that the kids should be okay with a parent going with them to one event. If that's what the parent's going to require, hey, I want to go check out the scene for the first event, and go absolutely do that.
Max, you got a question?
Yeah, I mean, I know my parents are, I wouldn't say they weren't so supportive of initially getting me Xbox Live when I was younger and, playing, sitting in on a weekend and playing GBs with my friends from school. But like you said, the fact that, I'm not on the corner doing drugs or like it was a big positive for them that I wasn't out getting in trouble. And then especially when I joined ESN, they saw like the real potential in it to become a real career, because after I graduate from college, I hope to pursue a career in either journalism in sports or esports. So as soon as I told her that I was getting sent out for COD champs, my mom was fully on board and actually like realized that esports is a real thing, and that if kids come to their parents in a professional manner and put it in perspective for them, then there really should be no reason for the parents to back them.
Right. I agree. I mean, I think a lot of it is education for parents. I mean, I had no idea how big the community was, the money potential in the community, just the camaraderie that goes on with these kids. I mean, yeah, they might not have met until the first event that they go to, but they've known these kids. They know each other like good friends, for up to a year. I mean, Derek saw people at Dallas that he's known online for 2 years,
Right.
So, I mean, it's definitely a lot about education. I mean, the community's huge. There's a lot of job opportunities in this community. It's just growing. And I think that was a pretty big, aha moment for me as well. When we got sponsored by VVV, and I started talking to Jerry, the owner, and just had a conversation with him, and he made me feel like, wow, this thing is going somewhere, and my kid's, wants to be a part of that, and he's got a good shot to be a part of it. So that definitely helped the education.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Realize is a very talented player. He's found a good team in Unite, and obviously he was on a good team before in VVV. But I think that Sharp's father as well, he made a really good point that it's no different than going to support your kid at a high school sport event or something like that.
Right.
So I mean, the parent support not only does it make the parents feel better, but it makes makes the kids feel better, because they are looking. As a young kid, I know I was looking for support from my parents in high school sports, and especially anything and I did, to know that I was not making them proud, but was making them happy.
Yeah. I mean, no, I mean, I tell you, there's, and I know every parent won't get the opportunity to do what I did in Dallas. And, I know that was a dream of his to be on that main stage. Just from the previous event in Orlando, we had went to, I think a year and a half prior or something, 2 years prior. But
Right.
to see my kid fulfill a dream being on that main stage is just like holding up a trophy for the state championship.
Exactly.
To actually be a part of it, to be on that stage with him. I mean, words cannot describe that moment for me at Dallas. I mean, words cannot describe it.
That's awesome.
So, just to cut in here, a quick question was, I mean, someone in our question feed, basically, he said that his parents would want to know who the teammates are that he would want to go to the events with, and how would he try to get his parents comfortable with the people he's going with?
All right. Well, That's a good question. It's a great question, and it's funny because I actually did the exact same thing when Derek's first team, which it was, I believe, Theory, Complex, and Replays. Before Dallas came about, I insisted on talking to every one of those kids. And at first it was like, that's not cool, blah, blah, blah. You can't talk to my team. And I said, well, that's the way it is, and your teammates have to, appreciate that, because they have parents as well. Maybe they're older, maybe they're not. But, when he finally told him, hey, my dad wants to talk to you, they were cool with it, and I had a whole conversation, with them, and it went well, and I felt comfortable. And it just so happened that, I ended up going and meeting with them and hanging out with them and staying in the hotel and all that. But yeah, I absolutely had a conversation with his teammates before the event. That was absolutely a stipulation.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's no different than like a kid meeting someone at school, and obviously the parents want to talk to the parents before the kid goes over to the person's house.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I mean, and it definitely made me more comfortable. I mean, it took a couple days for him to come around to let me do it, but it definitely made me quite a bit more comfortable because, there was somebody on the other end, and, there was one of them. I forget who's the oldest in that group. It might be Theory, but very mature and very just reassuring with, hey, if you don't make it to the event, we'll watch out for him. We'll make sure nothing goes down, nothing happens. We just go to the event, we go to the venue, we come back to the hotel. I mean, he was just very reassuring, and I didn't know him from Adam, but it was definitely a good phone call.
Definitely.
So a question, another one in the feed is, I think fathers would be more supportive than the mothers of these players, just because, and his reasoning, I guess, would be because they're probably more in the video games than the mothers would be. Do you have an opinion on that? Or, I mean, like, if you had to go to one person or the other, if you were a child in here, who would it be?
I definitely would go to my dad. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, unless for some reason, you don't have a dad in the picture, you got a stepdad, something that, maybe you're not close with your dad and you're closer with your mom. I mean, I actually sat at Anaheim for about a good 20 minutes and talked with a mother of a kid that was in open pool. And, I mean, she just went on and on about, it took her a little while to come around, but now that she's come around, she goes to every event. She's comfortable. She kind of lets him do his thing. But she's so proud of him and that he's doing something that he's good at and, that he's passionate about.
Awesome. I have a personal question. I know a couple people in the chat might have the same question as well. And I know it's might be too soon to ask this question, seeing that Realize only joined Unite the other day. But will you be coaching Unite?
That's not up to me. I mean, that's obviously up to the team. I would absolutely love to coach Unite. I think they're an absolute huge talent of kids. I mean, every one of those kids is a monster. I've watched him scrim, since he joined them. I'm familiar with the kids because I'm, too familiar with the community. But yeah, I would absolutely, coach them, and that's up to them, though. I mean, I think one of them is throwing it out there. We'll see what goes on. We're not real sure yet. We don't know what's going on with Atlanta and this, that, and the other. And I think they have a coach, or they I don't know. But yeah, I would absolutely coach him if they wanted me to. Sure.
I know Bezo coached him at the last event, but I'm not sure.
I'm not sure if he's going to coach him for the next one, or Atlanta or Orlando or whatever, whoever these little events are, whatever's coming up.
Right.
So just on a side note, away from the whole parent thing, someone asked, how good are you at Call of Duty?
Well, I don't suck.
That's good.
I mean, I can hang. I mean, I have my moments. Sometimes I drop 30 bombs. Once in a blue moon, I'll drop a 40 or 50. But yeah, I'm better than the average bear, but not near as good as these kids are. That's for sure.
Right. Another question from me, just as a personal question. So outside of coaching at events, how involved are you in the Call of Duty community? Do you watch streams? Do you play with people?
Oh, wow. Yeah, unfortunately, probably too much. I do watch a lot of streams because coaching, it's like I look at the coaching of that team as if I were coaching, what he's doing. I watch their scrims. I try and put my little points into, hey, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. This is what they're going to run. And I mean, I'm obviously very active on Twitter. Anybody that usually tweets me and says, hey, can you help me out? Do a retweet. I'm looking for somebody, or this or that. I absolutely always try and do it. I've had a couple different people, have hit me up and said, hey, I'm building a team. Can you give me some pointers, that kind of thing? I mean, I try and be as involved as I can in the community without being the nerdy dad. You know what I mean?
Right.
but yeah, I watch way too much streams, and I watch you guys. I watch you guys show pretty much every time I'm awake and it's on. And I pretty much whoever's streaming, I've pretty much probably seen their stream. And I watch a lot of show matches too because I like seeing these amateur teams that are coming up. So I'm really really involved. Probably way too much.
So, just to chime in here, a question in the Twitter feed again. What can you do about going to events if money is a problem? I have a quote-unquote money shortage.
Well, I mean, obviously the first thing that my advice would be, and that I give to these people that contact me is, you got to get a team. You got to stick with that team to be good enough to, win some game battle matches, some tourneys, whatever. Get on some of these show matches and get a sponsor. I mean, that's what it's all about. I mean, that sponsor is what's going to help you, even if it's small sponsors. I mean, for our event at Dallas, I think we had, before we ended up with BVV, we had, $100 here. I mean, Creeper, you would know what we had there, but I mean, we didn't have much. We had 100 here and 200 there or something. And then we got very fortunate and got BVV to come in. But even that wasn't a full ride to Dallas. So we all had to come up with some money on that. But, once you get to that event, you just got to play your heart out and you gotta win. You got to post well.
I mean, there's small sponsors out there that are willing to, give you $200 or $100, to help you out. So
there's a ton of them.
Contact. Yeah.
Yep. There's a ton of them out there. There really is. I mean, I've had, I can't even tell you how many different, people have contacted me through Twitter and, and said, hey, I really want to sponsor, an AM team. I want to start getting my name out for my company. We're just starting with this or that. We can only do a little bit. And, I say, yeah, I mean, just look for, go on some of these show matches and look at these teams. And that's where they're going to go. They're going to go to the show matches. They're going to look at game battles, the ICN tournaments, the icons. They're going to look at those little tournaments and see, maybe if there's pros in it and you post 4th or 5th, that's impressive when you're playing against a pro team, So you got to get noticed, but you got to also put it out there. I mean, if you don't apply for the sponsorships, you're not going to get them. That's for sure.
Right.
So,
oh yeah, go ahead, Hype.
Yeah, so basically, I mean, one thing that really comes to mind, and I mean, this is kind of a good question. I know we touched on it a little bit earlier, but how would someone convince their parents gaming is a career? Because, I mean, I guess this person's trying to say, they can make it a good amount of money, and I'm guessing they just want to show their parents that the money's there.
Well, I mean, it's a matter of they have to educate them. I mean, they can use Nate Shot as an example. They can use my kid as an example. I mean, 6 months ago he was making zero money except for game battles here and there. Then all of a sudden I get a $250 check in the mail. Then he gets this sponsor. Then he goes to this event. He wins $1,750. Buys all his streaming equipment. He gets partnered with Twitch. I mean, he's already made over a couple $100 with Twitch, and he's only been partnered, I think, a month and a half, maybe. So it's just about the education. These kids got to tell their parents, look, this is what I want to do, and I can make money at it. And just tell them, hey, this kid's making this, and that kid's making. And you can't. I guess you really can't use Nate Shot because he's making gobs of money more than probably all of us in the thing together. I think if we combined our salaries, we would not be making as much as Nate Shot, but that's the goal that every kid that's out there streaming and grinding and is trying to get to, and it's just, again, it's about education. You educate your parents and, show them the videos, show them whatever. I mean, have them tweet me, have them tweet me. I'll have them tweet me. I'll get them on Skype and we'll have a conversation and I'll educate them. Right. I'm all about helping the community. So any kid that wants to have their parents tweet me or Skype me, just let me know.
Yeah. So before
I just opened up a big window there, didn't I?
Yeah, did you? Yep.
We're gonna have like 15 contacts tomorrow.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wait, how many? Wait, let me go back to the view here. How many viewers we got in this thing?
355.
Holy crap! Yeah, that's gonna be good.
Imagine if you would have said that with like 1,600.
Oh yeah, no.
I mean, I just want to cut in here before I ask this next question. Guys, if you are in the chat and you have a question for PapaRealize, just hashtag ESN Late Night and we'll ask the question.
Or
so anyway,
in the chat.
Yeah, that's true. I just want to hop here a little bit back to the sponsors. I mean, you did say there's a ton out there with little sponsors. I mean, there's a ton of companies out in this community right now who can afford a team pass or can afford the hotel, but they just can't afford the flights. So I mean, that's one of your big ways to try to go at it. I mean, you're gonna have to eat your flight pretty much your first event. I don't think there's really a way around it. I mean, obviously, Merrick's didn't need his flight on his first event because he got him for Rico. But most of you guys aren't on that pro level at this point, so you need to be able to spend some money here. But there are companies out there that will pay for your hotel and your team pass, so you need to be on the lookout for that and try to impress those companies.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you look at a sponsor, I mean, they ask, for credentials and things like that. And, you don't necessarily have to have a ton of credentials, just put the time in, I mean, it's just absolutely put the time in and, tell them it's like a resume, hey, I've been playing it for this long. My team's been together this long. I mean, I hate to go into this whole team together thing, but, when you're starting out like that, I mean, it's huge. I mean, it is very huge. And sponsors absolutely look at that kind of thing. They want your team to remain the same.
Mm-hmm.
And one guy change here, one guy change there, I don't think that's the end of the world. But you start dropping 2 and 3 players and rebuilding the whole team, I'm a sponsor throwing, whether it's $200 or $1,000, that doesn't look good for me.
Yeah,
Right.
so, I mean, on a quick question here, just for you personally and for Realize, I know the other day once he there was a mutual agreement that he wouldn't be on VVV anymore. I know you tweeted out something along the lines of you might be less involved in esports now because you really hate these roster changes. I mean, where does your position stand now? Are you happy with everything that went on, or you have any regrets?
Well, I mean, yeah, initially I'm not a big fan of the roster change. I mean, he got dropped or left or whatever happened with VVV. Actually left. I guess him and Replays left the first time. I wasn't happy about that move. I wasn't happy about the evil move. Didn't work out. So I guess I was kind of right. I'll just say that on stream. And but he got back in with VVV, and they're a great organization. I cannot say enough about VVV. I mean, those guys are awesome. That community is awesome. Love them to death. And hopefully I will always stay an honorary member of that community. But, when this change happened again, it was like, wow, here we go again. It's very emotional for me because I know it's emotional for him. And anything he goes through, I go through as a parent. But it was something that him and I sat down and talked about afterwards. And he said, this was the best decision for me. And I feel like, I needed to do something different because he was losing his passion for the game. And that was because of whatever issues they had in the team. And he joined Unite, and I've seen in the last couple of days, I mean, it's a completely different attitude. I mean, he's stoked to play the game again. And so, yeah, that makes me happy. Anytime he's happy, obviously it makes me happy. So he's very fortunate to have gotten that team that he got. And I'll be as involved as I probably can be. I mean, if I'm not coaching, I don't know how much I'll be involved. But yeah, I mean, it's still kind of out there where where I'm going and what I'm doing. But I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll coach somebody else.
Oh man. So so I mean, I know you said you don't really know what's gonna happen yet, but if you don't end up coaching Unite, will you still try to go to the event, or what's up with that?
It's difficult because, again, it comes back down to money. I mean, I could have never afforded to fly out to Anaheim. If the team hadn't, said, hey, we never coached to be there, and the sponsor covered that flight, there's no way I would have been able to just drop that kind of money to go out there. It was very expensive. So an event like Columbus, that's going to be difficult if I don't have some funding to go there, because it's just not a normal budget thing. You miss work, and you got to pay for flights and things like that. But we'll just have to see, I mean, we'll just absolutely have to see how it goes. I mean, Atlanta, I really want to go to Atlanta. It's a 8-hour drive for us. I was talking with Dan tonight and trying to figure out if we were going to get some funding for that, and, whether or not the whole team is going to be able to make it. He's working on it as we speak. And we'll just take it one event at a time and see what happens with Atlanta.
So there's a few questions I want to get through before we close out your segment. I know you only have a little bit on here tonight, so I do want to start off with this question. There was someone in the chat. They said they have a sponsor that's pretty much lined up, and he's 100%, but he wants them to sign a contract, and I'm not sure if he's under 18 or what the deal is with that. What would you recommend him to do at this point?
I mean, anybody that's going to sponsor you or give you money, they're going to make you sign something, or they should, because it kind of protects them as well as you. I looked over the contract. Every contract signed, I looked over. I had my attorney look at the first one, and kind of got an idea of it, and so I was familiar with the terminology and so forth. But absolutely, sign the contract. I mean, you're going to have to have parental consent if you're under 18, and just explain to your parent. Make sure you know what the contract means, and explain to your parent that this is what I need to be able to do what I want to do. And there's no reason that they shouldn't get behind it, because all those contracts are. I mean, I've read 5 or 6 of them now from different teams. And they're all pretty standardized. It says you have to do this, you have to do that. We're going to pay you this much, or we're going to cover this, and that's it. You just got to do your responsibilities. But I've yet to see any player in this community get held to their contract. So that's probably a whole nother story for a whole nother show. But contracts are kind of just I don't know. I think they're kind of disposable, and I don't. I think they should be withheld, but it's that's a whole nother show.
So I have one more question, but I do want to just hop in with this really quick. If a company is going to give you money, or they say they're going to give you money, and they don't make you sign a contract, chances are it's too good to be true. I mean, you need to make sure that you're protected. A contract that okay, so the kid said that the contract will make him stay there for 3 years.
Okay. Well. Here's the thing with that. I mean, you obviously don't. I mean, my advice would be that you don't want to sign a contract beyond the season. So in this case, it would be this year. That would just be a first and foremost. I mean, that was something that we went through. Our first contract was beyond the first year, and we were like, we wanted to adjust it to the year. So I don't agree with the 3-year deal. But again, at the end of the day, you got to look at how they're going to hold you to that contract. It's nobody's held anybody to one yet. So until that first one happens.
Yeah, I mean, negotiating these contracts, if you want to get out of it, chances are you might be able to. I mean, if a company's gonna hold you to it, they're gonna have to take you to court, and that's just like they don't really want to do that. Like, no one wants to sit there and spend the funds to hire a lawyer in the situation. So
and I didn't want to go into that as much as that too. But yeah, absolutely, and that's the reason nobody's ever held to a contract, is because the company is not going to spend the money for lawyers and court fees and that kind of thing to keep a player there for $800. I mean, there's no way for them to enforce it other than to take you to court, and nobody's doing that.
Yeah,
not even the big sponsors, not even the sponsors that are paying for UK trips. They're not going to spend the money, because it's just not. They would lose way too much money to fight it.
Yeah. So there's one last question I wanna get through before we we end the segment. And that's, how do I convince my parents that expensive gear is worth it, such as a new monitor, BenQ, Scuff, Astro, things like that?
You don't. You don't. In due time. Okay, everybody listening, 388 people. You can't ask for too much right away. Realize got his first Scuff at Christmas, and got his first monitor the following Christmas, I believe. And Gunners were either a birthday present or a Christmas, somewhere in there. And then obviously his streaming equipment, a new monitor, new computer, everything he paid for with the money he won from Dallas. So I also had him do things around the house. He actually earned his own money for his Xbox. I mean, he earned half the money that I paid for the Xbox at one point. So I think, good advice to all you kids out there that are trying to get Scuffs and Gunners and monitors and things like that, and streaming equipment. Ask for it for your birthday. Go, ask to do some chores and say, hey, if I pay for half this, that's what you got to do, because you're trying to get your parents behind something that you're going to ask them for hundreds of dollars for equipment that you're gonna just be beating your head against the wall.
Yeah.
My parents didn't help me at all. The only thing, I had to buy everything I wanted. I had to buy all my monitors and my streaming computer and everything. The only thing I got for Christmas was my Astros for my grandparents, because I asked for them.
Right, and it was the same way with Derek. I mean, he got everything for Christmas. Everything was Christmas and birthdays, headsets, headsets and Scuff. And one year I think it was a Scuff and Gunners. The other year it was a headset and a monitor, or I think it was I think last year was headset and monitor.
Yeah, so I mean, there's one last question that I think needs to be brought up. So the kid in the chat said basically his father is British and he's keen on him playing soccer. and he took away his Xbox for a month because he quit soccer to take on esports, and he wants to know how he can get his approval or at least get his Xbox back.
It's going to be hard for him, but he might have to try and do both. And just try and educate his father that, hey, I like soccer, but I like, esports more. And, educate his dad on the esports, educate him and say, hey, I can do both. I can do both, but, this is where my passion is. And, I really just want to tell you about it and what I want to do and what my plans are. This is my future, blah, blah, blah. And, just try and slowly get him behind it, but a dad that's really stuck on a particular sport or something like that, it's difficult. I'm sure it's difficult. I fought it and fought it and fought it for years with the sports, and then finally I just I had to give up, and that's kind of the way it went.
Yeah. I mean, I really want to thank you for coming on. It was great having you, and I'm sure some people in the chat really got some info, and I know some people said thank you for answering all the questions. So hopefully your parents will let you get into things now, and I just want to thank PapaRealize for coming on.
Hey, I want to say thanks for having me, guys. Anything I can do for the community, I'm always there. And like I said, that's still an open invitation. Anybody, wants to tweet me or whatever, absolutely do that, and I'll try and get back to everybody in a timely manner. But I really am behind the community. I'm behind my kid, and whether I'm fully involved or not, I'll support him no matter what he does.
Mm-hmm. And do you want to plug your Twitter really quick?
Yeah, it's my new Twitter is @Papa_Realize, and that's about it. Derek's is I believe it's Unite_DRealize, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the last one he landed on, so I think that's it. And I would have Unite PapaRealize in case anybody's wondering why I don't. It's because it does not fit. It's too many letters. And I've already asked Dan if he would change the team name, and he said no. They're just gonna call. they're just gonna refer to me as UPR. So.
Oh God. All right, yeah, but I really want to thank you for coming on. It was really informative for everyone, so I appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. Thanks, guys. I love the show. Love everything you guys are doing for the esports world, and I'm gonna continue watching. Thanks.
All right. So, guys in the chat. Really quick, we're going to be moving on to Mr. Bio here. We're going to be talking about Universal Rule Set and MLG's announcement today. So we'll be right back, and we'll get him on with